Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to be introducing you to what I'm calling MyListing Worksheets. So what these are just, think of them as like spreadsheets to help you get your data input faster so you can visualize it before you start building. So if you've ever used spreadsheets before, just think about how it makes your life easier when you input a value and then you can fill in those other cells with the same value over and over again so you don't have to keep typing, and then how you can visualize things within spreadsheets. So that's what this is going to be doing. It's going to help you build listing types faster, the listing fields, and the taxonomy structure faster. So if you've ever built a listing type with MyListing, you know how frustrating it can be to get in there and you start making edits and you got to like flip-flop screens and then you kind of like lose your place. And when you save your changes, like if you got to go do something else and you come back, you got to start, finding your way back. Whereas with these worksheets, what you can do is just build everything, which I always recommend this anyway, but you build everything out visually on a spreadsheet or some other tool, and you get everything built out, and then you go build within MyListing. What a lot of people do, and a lot of mistakes people make, is they jump right into a MyListing demo or a new fresh install and then install MyListing, and they just start clicking around and trying to build things that way. And it's hard to know where you're at in your progress, your process, how you're progressing. It's hard to visualize stuff because you got to keep going to the front end of the site and checking it or clicking on screens in the back end. So again, so what this is a way to do is just to really speed up that process of getting your taxonomies in there, your fields built, and your listing types built. And there probably will be more worksheets to come in the future if I think about some that are useful. And if you have any ideas too, I'm happy to spend the time to create those. What else can I say about this? There's something else I wanted to say about it. I'm forgetting. Okay, we'll go ahead and dive in, and maybe I will think of it as we go along. So right here from the MyListing Club website, that's mylisting.club. If you just scroll down the homepage a little bit, or if you're on a larger screen, you see it right here, which is these MyListing worksheets. Input, build, and scale, build smarter. We'll go ahead and click into this card. So let's quickly run through this product page, and then we'll look at the actual worksheets themselves here. So these are the perfect companion to the more in-depth checklist found in the MyListing Project Template. So what do I mean by that? So if you're in the project template and you're under the MyListing column here, and let's say we scroll down here to, let's just start with listing types for fun, and you click into this. This is a very detailed card, and it breaks down each task, and there's lots in here. So if you see, we can expand, load more tasks. There's a lot in here, and there's explanations for all of it, more of in a checklist format. Okay, so what I've done here is expanded upon that and given you an easier way, a quicker way to get those values in there and whatnot. So as I say in the intro to the worksheet, which I'll show you in a second, it is not as thorough. Let's see, lost my place here. Listing types. It's not going to have 100%. Everything that's in the project template is not going to be in the worksheet, because some things it just doesn't make sense to ask certain questions a lot of the time. So like slug, for example, it's optional. You'll very rarely ever change that. Things of that nature that aren't super common, I left out for now. If you guys have feedback and you want me to put that in there, I can. But part of the thing, oh, I know, now I remember, this jarred my memory. So whether you are building the site for yourself or maybe you build sites for clients, this is a way for you to capture data from them. So this actually came about in my mind because when I build websites for clients, it was this constant back and forth of, okay, what do you want your icon for the listing type to be? What are your taxonomies? What, blah, 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 blah. So I needed to provide a way for them to give them like a worksheet, a spreadsheet, and have them fill in their data and make it super simple for them. So that's where the idea of this came from. And with that in mind, you're thinking of this first checklist here, slug, like that's something you don't want to ask them. You don't need to ask them 99.9% of the time. So I left it off of there. So I hope that makes sense of why it's not a one-to-one comparison between the project template and these worksheets. All right. Worksheets help you quickly build out taxonomy structures, listing types, listing type fields, and more. Like I said, there's probably going to be more worksheets to come. I just got to think of if there's any other worksheets that would be valuable to people. Okay. Whether you're building a MyListing website for yourself or clients, this valuable resource helps you input or collect data faster. Club members get these worksheets as part of their membership. So you just have to have any kind of a club membership, whichever one, you're going to get this for free. I don't have these available as a one-off purchase. I will probably do that in the future. But for now, they're just available for club members. If you want to get a copy of this as a non-club member, feel free to reach out to me. We'll work something out. But yeah. All right. So we've got the taxonomy worksheet, which we'll look at. We're going to look at all of these. Taxonomy worksheet, listing fields, and listing types. Really quickly, how it works. You're just going to get your free Airtable account. If you don't have an Airtable account already, it could be a free account or a paid, but everything that I've done here is with the free account. Obtain. You're going to use the copy base feature and paste it into your own Airtable account. I'll show you how to do that. It's super simple. And then step 3, just enjoy the worksheets. All right. So let's go ahead and click into this first one here. Do the taxonomy worksheet. Input, visualize, and scale your taxonomies. I've already told you this is the perfect complement to the MyListing Project Template. This is a screenshot of the taxonomy worksheet. Screenshots don't do it any justice because you can't see all of the tabs and you can't see all of the fields and the data and all that. This is going to be replaced after this video with this video. I'm going to embed this video in here for people to review. The worksheet is embedded on this page and will be shown below to anyone with an active club membership. And any changes I make to the worksheet in the future any changes I make to the worksheet in the future, I need to update that text. That's my bad. Basically, it's just me saying, anytime I make changes to this worksheet, you're going to see them in real time. As long as you just have that link or you come here to this page and you grab it. Okay. So as you see here, I am signed in with a club membership, and this table is available. This is a live interactive look at the actual worksheet. So if I click through here, we can see everything that's in here. Okay. And all you're going to do is you're just going to click on this copy base. I'm going to highlight here, click on this copy base. Okay. You're going to click on that. It's going to ask you if you want to, where you want to paste it within your own Airtable account. It's just that simple. Like I said, if I make a change to this, just refresh this page, you're going to see it in real time. You likely won't be accessing this in real time, but just come back here when you're ready to see if there's an updated version. Use that copy base, and off you go. Okay. How it works, I've already gone over that. Let's go through the FAQs. Do I need to pay for Airtable? No, everything is free as far as Airtable goes. How do I add the worksheets to my own Airtable account? Click the copy base link, paste it into your own free Airtable account, and off you go. I got a change log down here at the bottom. I may or may not keep that. We'll see how frequently this changes. I don't think it's going to change a ton. It mainly is going to depend on the MyListing theme updates. If new features come out, settings change, whatever. Okay. So that's that. So let's quickly look at these in an actual Airtable environment and just see how involved these things really are. I want to make a special note that the listing types these are done in order, first of all. So you want to do taxonomy first, and then I've got a step 4 here. It says, okay, now we've done that. Let's move on to the listing fields worksheet. Okay, and then I give you a link right here to it. What that's going to do is then open up this Airtable worksheet, and you're going to work through this. And then there's step 4 on this. Now let's go over to the listing types worksheet, which is this final one. And then you build that out. And the reason it's in that order is because you can't build the listing type until you know what your taxonomies are and your fields are. So you got to define the taxonomies, build the fields, and then construct your listing types, okay? So the first tab is just getting started on all of these, kind of walks you through what the steps are, gives you a little breakdown of what you need to do step by step. Pretty simple stuff. Let's just look at one. We'll look at the taxonomy worksheet here as our example because it's pretty involved. Okay, so step 1, restaurant demo. Review the restaurant demo table tab. So in Airtable, it's called Airtable. So each tab is a table. So you can refer to it as a table or a tab. Okay, so again, review the restaurant demo table, which serves as an example of how a MyListing website owner might enter data for a restaurant listing type. Okay, so restaurant demo, we're going to click on this tab, this table, and I've given you an example of a restaurant, how it might be done. So the top line here is, I apologize, my dog is barking. Yeah, so sorry, a little distracted by the dog barking. So the first line here is the listing type. And then down here, we've got a category. It's a pizza is a category. And then I give you an example of a taxonomy description. And that's that. And then child categories would be deep dish, thin crust, and New York style pizza. Moving on to Italian, then you've got lasagna, spaghetti, and meatballs will be the child category for that. Next category is Greek. I apologize again. Hold on, I'm gonna shut my door. Sorry. All right, the fun of live videos. I like that I don't edit my videos either, so that's going to be in there. That's going to be fun. Okay, last category here is Greek. So then you've got gyros, dalmates, and tiramisu masala. I don't even know how to pronounce that as a child category. And then let's move on to region. So a parent region could be the United States. And then I break down, the taxonomy description of the United States. But then I break down if you click on these little arrows here, it's going to break out the description. And I'm just giving you kind of an explanation of why this example is there. A child region of the United States could be, East Coast, West Coast, and Midwest. Those are just areas of the United States. Another way to break down regions could be, let's see, break this out. Parent-child region relationship using states in the U.S. as the parent regions, and then cities in the U.S. as the child regions. So I give you that example. And then lastly, I gave you another example of, let's click on this, using cities in the U.S. as the parent regions, and then neighborhoods in the U.S. as the child regions. So there's a lot of different ways you can do this, but I wanted to give you a few examples of how to do that. You can also look at any of my starter sites and see how I do it there. It's going to give you a visual look at how these are broken down. A couple ideas for tags, also called amenities a lot of time, or features. Free Wi-Fi. I need to update this. See how I just updated that field right there? I changed that word. Now if you were to go and look at this Airtable base and copy it, that change would happen that fast. It's going to replicate that fast, and you're going to get that. So public parking accepts credit cards. All right, moving on down, a custom taxonomy. So if you're building and it doesn't fit into a category, or you want to do it outside of categories or outside of regions or outside of tags, you need a custom taxonomy for whatever reason. This is just another example here. So let's say we needed a custom taxonomy for catering options. Some child taxonomy, custom taxonomies for that could be large parties. And I think I had another spelling error, so let me change that. So catering options, large parties, wait staff, and DJ could be child custom taxonomies for that. And maybe have another custom taxonomy for supports diversity. Let's leave that there. Women-owned businesses, military, veteran-owned businesses, Asian-owned businesses, those could be child custom taxonomies. And lastly, a custom taxonomy could be venue amenities. So dressing rooms, wait staff, DJ. Okay, so you see there more examples. Okay, so that's just, again, that's just a demo to give you some ideas. So now let's look at the actual, let's look at the definitions really quick for this. So this is just explaining what each of these is. Like if you've built MyListing websites already, you know what this stuff is, probably. But if you are giving this to a client to fill in the information, they likely won't know this stuff. So you're kind of giving them a little guide, some definitions here. Okay. All right. Let's look at the actual taxonomy. So as I say in the getting started, you're going to look at the restaurant demo. You're going to duplicate the taxonomies table tab, which is this one right here. So it's kind of like a clean slate. You're going to just duplicate this. So in your Airtable, right click, and you can say duplicate table. Okay. So let's just pretend that I did that. Okay. Let's go back here. Duplicate the taxonomies table tab, giving it a name that matches your listing type. So the reason you want to do that is because you want to keep this clean and pristine as your template. Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and duplicate it. So right click, duplicate table. My mouse is not cooperating. So there we go. And we want to duplicate the records because it's clean. We want to have these color codes and everything brought in. And you can adjust this within your own Airtable. You can adjust these colors. This could be whatever you want it to be. So let's just call this place. So we're going to create just a generic place tax listing type. Okay. And you're just going to come in here. Taxonomy name, we call this place. That's the name of the listing type. There's no taxonomy description to put in for listing type. So that's just an NA, which is not applicable. But here, category, what's a place? A park. Okay. What's a child category? Skate park. Let's do skate park as a child category. It's a type of park. What's a region? It could be all of the United States. It could be, let's say, East. We'll call it, we'll just call it United States. Is the parent region. Okay. Child region could be North Carolina, which is a state. Okay. Custom taxonomy for a place could be skate clubs. Okay. And then a child custom taxonomy for skate clubs could be all women clubs, for example. It could be that. It could be the type of skating, rollerblade club, that type of thing. Tags could be, this is where you could put like that women only. Okay. If you have more tags, just right click on that tag record and say duplicate, women only, men only. Okay. I mean, you just go so on and so forth. You just keep building this out and then you get something like this restaurant demo. So now when, this is for you, or like I said, for your client, then when it's time to move on to the next step, which is the listing fields, you have all of this built out and ready to go. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this. Okay. So now let's pretend we're moving on to the listing fields, right? Okay. Same thing. Let's look at the restaurant demo just to get an idea. You see just how involved this is. There's a lot in here. Okay. You're going to do the same thing. This is a clean slate right here. You're just going to duplicate the table, duplicate the records. That's going to give you all these field types in here. Okay. So there you go. And you just start filling it in. So, maybe the title right here. So we got field type as title. And by the way, if we go back to the getting started, I think I say this in here. Yeah. Step 3 is the build. Your duplicated table will contain all of the fields that MyListing currently offers. So you can be sure to build your listing type to their fullest. So when you look at this, this is currently all of the fields. Now there are custom fields that you can use, but these are for the most part all of the fields available that your client or even yourself you're going to use. Okay. And you can color code these. If you edit the field, you can use color coded options. So you can flip between color and whatever. And what else can I show you with that? Yeah, so if you don't want it to be title, for example, like, oh, you say, no, I want this to be name. I don't want it to be, I want to use the title field, but I want it to say name. I want it to be the category field, but I don't want it to say category. I want it to say like type of restaurant. Okay. I don't want it to say tag. I want it to use the tags field, but I don't want it to say tags for the listing owner when they go to fill in their listing. I want it to say amenities and so on and so forth. You just work your way down through this. And that's just that very first column there. Another thing I wanted to point out is there's these little informational icons in here. And what I've done, you can click into those too, but if you hover over it too, it's going to give you an explanation, or it's going to give your clients an explanation of what does this mean? What are some best practices? What is typically used in here? You know, some guidance to help them fill that out. Okay, so field type, same thing, a little explanation, placeholder, what the heck is that? A description, minimum length. And the other thing I did with this that's really cool that took so much time was I went through and I built a listing type from scratch. And as I added the field, so when I added the name, the title field, sorry, what options did that unlock? Did it unlock this placeholder option here? Did it unlock this description? Did it unlock this minimum link value? It goes in order, I think almost identically. I could be wrong. It might be 99% there, but I just went in order. So that's also a cool feature. So look at this minimum length. I actually tell you which, let me expand this here. I actually tell you what this column applies to. This column applies to the following field types. I even went that far, okay? And every one of these has an I. Some of these are really involved. Some of them are not, okay? Anyway, really cool stuff. You can see how much is in here. And by the time you're done, you should have a clear picture of what you need to do with your fields. So when you go to build the listing type, whether it's the listing type worksheet, which I'm going to show you in a second, or you're building the listing types for real, you have this on one screen, your listing type builder with MyListing on another, and you just boom, 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 putting the stuff in rather than hunting and pecking around and saving and coming back and blah, 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 blah. It's just a way to get everything done way faster. Okay. Okay. So let's look at listing types. I'm going to delete this table before I forget. Okay. Listing types. This one is a work in progress. So I'm going to be working on this today, tomorrow. These things take a lot of time to build because I'm super thorough in what I'm doing here, but there's a lot to it, a lot of valuable information to it already. So this general tab here, let's go back to getting started. Restaurant demo, it's the same thing. I just ask you to look at this one's a little different. So it's not the table with the tab, it's the restaurant demo records. So this is a record, okay? Right here, this first line, that's considered a record. Airtable also calls them a listing, which I think is kind of ironic, but yeah, so this right here, it's a row. So I'm asking you, instead of to look at the tab, the table, we're going to look at the restaurant demo rows to get an idea of how to build these. Okay. Yeah. So this first tab and follows along with, if you've ever built a MyListing listing type, these follow along. So this is everything that you would find in the general section of the listing type. So the name of the listing type, again, there's the informational icons here. Some of these are really in depth. I can't remember which ones. Oh, when we get under single page, you're going to see some really in-depth ones. But first column is name. That's the name of the listing type. Default logo. Do you want a default logo? It explains what happens if you don't specify one, or what happens if you do. And I'm just putting in here, include a link, whether it's in Dropbox, Office 365, or wherever it is. Maybe it's in the media library. Just include a link. This is especially important if you're collecting information from a client, right? So you're asking them, what do you want to use for these things? Okay. And again, I'll just keep saying it. If you have feedback, if there's more information I can add to these, maybe for the default logo and cover, I could put in like some image dimensions and whatnot, but that's more, I'm hoping people will use the MyListing Project Template for that, because that's where that information is covered. And I'd really like people to use that instead, not just because I charge for it. It is included in some memberships and some other products and services, but it's not just because it's got a price tag, a separate price tag for it, but it is way more thorough, and you can track that things are actually getting done versus just inputting the data here. Okay. Next up is the icon font. I walk you through that. If they don't want to use a font, they want to use an image instead for their icon, it walks you through that. Is it going to enable paid listings? Check the box. Listing packages, what are those? And you just build those out right here. So you list at the field and you put in your different pricing plans, which is going to come into play a lot. Do you want to enable reviews? Yes or no? And then moving on to the fields. And I just say for this one, complete the field worksheet. Let me make sure that goes there. It does, so that's cool. Single page, this one is taking a lot of time because there's so much to it. But again, we're looking at the restaurant demo record as an example. Cover style, do you want, what type of cover style do you want? And you can see I've got the options already pre-built in here. Cover image, gallery slider, you don't want to have any. What does none mean? Tells you what that means, none. Color only background with a logo area. Cover details, what do you want? They're all in here already. Event date, price, everything that's available is in there. Okay, so they can select that. Quick actions, same thing. Those are all in here. What do you want? What happens if you don't select any? What happens if you select one or two? Content and tabs. This is, this one's pretty involved. But you can see, is it the profile tab, reviews tab, related listings, a store? If you choose, for example, profile tab, what do you want in those profile tabs blocks, which is this next column over, and you see how involved that one is. I literally went through and defined everything in here and gave tips, lots going on in there. Okay, so that's where I left off. That's what I'm building out. I'm just going to keep working through the listing type. I'm basically going to include anything that allows you to mass enter data. Okay, so yeah, that's the whole goal of this whole thing, is just to help visualize the data that's going in, collect data, speed up the process of collecting and inputting data and all of that stuff, rather than hunting and pecking, like I said, in the listing type builder before you even know what your taxonomies are, which I always recommended. Don't do it that way. Get your taxonomies in order first. And just saving all of that back and forth with the client if you're building for them. What do you want? Or even your own team members. What do you want the icon to be? What color do you want the icon? What are we going to call this thing? What are we going to call this? Hey, did you want to make this field required? Do you not want to make it required? So let's go back to the fields real quick. That's a good one. That's a big one. I find that a lot. Let's scroll over here. Somewhere in here, there's a lot. You can see there's so much in here, but like one of the major ones is that I have to add, here it is. I have to ask clients a lot. Do you want this field to be required? Do you want this? That one's a big one. And then package visibility. Which packages should be allowed to see this field? That's another big one that's like back and forth. Okay. Anyway, I hope this makes sense. I hope you think it's going to be super valuable. I do. If nothing else, I've spent a ton of time on this to save me a ton of time going forward in the future. But I really hope you guys find a lot of value from this stuff and open to your feedback. And yeah, hope all is well. Please remember to click subscribe so you know when the other videos like this come out. And I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.